Isn't this gorgeous? I really, really like it. Okay then, here we are on a nice sunny day in March after all the snow went last week, and today we're outside Damerells motorcycles, and they've very kindly lent us this little beauty, the new Africa Twin, and it's the adventure version with a bigger fuel tank. And this is a bit of a schoolboy dream for me, because I wanted to ride one of these for a long time. We did a review on the first one that put out last year or so, but this is the one with the bigger fuel tank, and I've been really looking forward to it. It looks absolutely fantastic. The colour scheme is excellent, and I'm biting my bullet a little bit because I don't necessarily like chains, but having been on a tour last year, one of these was on the tour, two's up, pillion and luggage, and it performed fantastically, so I could be convinced actually. This is quite a tall bike. It comes as standard 920 mil seat height, and the lowest setting it goes to is 900. So if you're a little bit under tall, I think you really need to think about whether this bike is for you or not, or whether you should go for the other version of it. But it comes with the crash bars fitted, but no luggage racks, unfortunately. That would be a bonus, but we'll take it out for a ride and we'll see what we think of it. Okay then, I'm sat on the bike. I've got it on the lower seat setting of 900, the highest is 920, and I can comfortably get both of my feet, toes, let's say toes, down on the floor. I feel quite comfortable like that. It doesn't feel over tall, which is obviously a concern for some people. Sounds lovely. The exhaust sounds absolutely fantastic. This has got a different screen to the original Africa Twin. It's all digital. There's no analog stuff on it. I haven't actually had time to sort out what it all is, but I can see a clock, a speedo, a rev counter that goes up the side. I have no idea what P and EB stand for, and this bike has done a massive amount of miles already. It's done 6 miles, so this was registered specifically for us. Lovely seating position, nice seat, quite a small screen, so we'll see how that performs. Now, years ago, when the original Africa Twins were brought out, the XLV 750s, I really wanted one, but never got the chance to buy one. Lots of different reasons. Again, initial impressions are the seat is quite hard, but big enough. It's more of an off-road seat as opposed to a touring seat. I know the other version of this has a slightly better seat, but this is, I would think, is predominantly more of an off-road bike. That said, I think people are going to buy it whether they're going to use it off-road or not. There's no reason why you should limit yourself to using it for off-road. It's a nice bike. Nice wide handlebars. You get a good feeling when you're going around bends on it. There's no quick shifter, so it's the manual shift on the clutch. It sounds wonderful. It really does take me back. I love bikes like this. I've always bought trail bikes, more upright bikes. I find the riding position much more comfortable. I've ridden all sorts of things though, but I must admit I'm always brought back to these kinds of bikes. Okay, so this red line's at about 8,000 RPM. So that means its sweet spot is probably somewhere around about 4,000, 3,500 to 4,500 RPM. So I'm in 4th gear at the moment doing 56 miles an hour. And it sounds like the bike is really coping quite well. We go up into 5th, I'm doing 56 miles an hour still. You can see it on the digital screen, and it's doing about 3,500 RPM, so it's probably somewhere in its sweet spot. I mean, we don't thrash bikes anyway, but because I don't really see the point of doing it myself. That but fourth gear is a nice little gear for it, seems to be okay. You drop it down to third, 46 miles an hour at 4,000 RPM. So if you're just poodling along like this along a country lane, not thrashing it, these are the sort of speed you should, the sort of gears you would expect to be in, I would imagine. But you know, everyone rides their bikes differently. Some people like to thrash into the red line all the time. I don't. The screen is pretty good. I mean, we have only done a short bit on a bit of dual carriageway, but the screen gave you reasonable enough protection, I thought. I can hear this thump, it's lovely. It's like an old single cylinder thump, 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 thump. It's lovely. As you would imagine, Honda has a good build quality to it. It's one of the things that if you buy a Honda, you know you're going to get a good deal on the actual build quality. Very few things fall apart on them, and that's a positive thing for Honda, I believe. I'm looking at the switches on the handlebars. This has got heated grips. It's got a standard flash flick switch, rocker switch for the high beam and low beams. It's got various riding modes, a little horn, pathetic horn. I really wish motorcycle manufacturers would put a more substantial horn rather than a stupid little squeaky thing. What's the point of having that? That's just ticking a box for legal reasons, I think, and I find that really annoying. If you want to tell somebody, you know, that you're in the position you are on the road, what's the point of having a little squeak? But we've already said our opinions about horns. We've both, Toby and I, have got sound bomb horns. Not because we like blasting them, you know, but it certainly makes people pay attention to you when they cross a line or something like that. Anyway, back to this bike. There's a switch in front of me just to the right of the dash, the actual dash, that allows you to switch the ABS off, I believe. Not really sure, I have to look up on this. There's a select button on the left hand screen which gives you air temp, elapsed time. On the bottom of the screen there, you can just possibly see it. If you scroll one way, so it basically just gives you two things. And on the right hand side, all you've got is the cut-off switch and nothing else. So it's very uncluttered. Nothing that's going to cause you any problems. The handlebars seem to be quite high, which makes a nice relaxed riding position. My elbows are nicely flexed. I don't feel as I'm stretching or there's any pressure on my hands. The handlebars feel a little bit thin, a bit skinny, but that might be because I've just come off my GS Adventure and I've got grip buddies on there because of the vibration. My hands go to sleep quite often, so some people say my head goes to sleep as well. But traditional indicator switches where you push left and right and push in to switch them off. It is a windy day today, I must admit, and this screen, surprisingly enough, is giving me quite a lot of protection. We're riding into the wind now and it's giving a lot of protection, much more than some other bikes I've ridden. There are hand guards in front of the brake and the clutch levers. Bark busters, I suppose they are. They're not the actual bark buster mate, but that's what they're supposed to be. They're quite flimsy plastic, but then most are that are fitted to bikes like this. if you're going to take it off-road, I would suggest you put a better pair of hand guards on. It'll last at least a bashing, but to be honest, I don't think many of these are going to go off-road, if people are honest. So I'm in third gear on this little lane now, and it's no need to change down or anything like that. It's managing to cope with all the different speeds I'm riding at. So it's pulling from about 1000 RPM there in third gear, which some people may say might be straining the engine a bit, but it is very, very capable of doing it. So I don't think, you know, as a tourer, this would have any problem carrying 2 people. There's no luggage fitted to this, so there's no bars. You can buy luggage, and it's the standard Honda luggage racks. I would think if you were going to be seriously touring and, you know, didn't want the plastic things, which on some bikes are quite unreliable, and you plumped for metal ones, you'd probably be able to fit them quite easily. Whether you fit them on the OEM rack or not, I don't know. But I know that Beaumont, the Bulgarian company, are making them for this bike. So there's absolutely no vibration coming through this bike at all. You would sometimes imagine when you're riding these kinds of bikes that they're quite throbby. I mean, the engine sounds gorgeous and you can feel the throb of the engine, but there's no vibration per se coming through the actual frame of the bike. You can't feel anything on the foot pegs, which are rubberized, which is nice because, you know, if you're going to go off-road, then you probably take them off and just have the normal claws there. The screen is slightly tinted and it's cut in a funny shape, but it's doing its job quite well. Big gap underneath it, but the fairing seems to be coping with it reasonably well. And I would imagine you get quite a bit of protection from weather with this, because the tank actually sticks out more than the other tank on the other version of this bike, and that's because it's a 24 litre tank. And it reminds me very much of a GS shaped tank, a GS Adventure shaped tank. And I think this bike is going to be a serious contender once, you know, people ride it and get used to it a little bit. It's definitely an off-road biased bike. I think it's going to be up against KTMs and things, but you know what? I think people who might be swayed to buy a GS Adventure might also look at this. I've got to be honest that I hate chains. I hate the whole having to fix them and replace them and all the rest of it, and you know, when they have to be done and greasing them, especially if you're on a tour and, you know, you're doing as many miles as Toby and I do with touring and things. Greasing a chain at the end of the day is not the top of the priority list, to be honest. But I could be convinced by this bike, because it feels very nice. It has a good presence on the road as well. If people who've ridden GSs and Adventures and some of the bigger bikes, you know, the KTMs, the 990s and the 1290s, then you know what I'm talking about when you say the bike has a presence. It's something that people are going to pick up visually, probably subconsciously, before they actually realise what you are, if that makes sense. But this has a very good presence on the road. Might have something to do with the colour scheme, I don't know, but the colour scheme is fantastic. It's very light in comparison to my GSA. It is incredibly light, actually. Even with a full tank, it would be. It's still light. It's still very light. It's got half a tank in it, and when I moved it around in the car park before, it actually felt really quite easy to manoeuvre. The steering feels I'll use one of Toby's words, buttery smooth. That's 2 words, isn't it? It does feel very nice, very positive. Doesn't feel like it wants to fight you when you're trying to turn it. Good brakes. And the engine braking isn't bad either. I'll just see what it... As soon as you take your hand off the throttle and throttle back, you can feel the engine going down. And I'm driving along and I'm finding that 3rd and 4th gear are the gears of choice at the moment. 40 miles an hour in 3rd gear is probably, without thrashing it, it's just bringing up to 4,000 RPM. There's a tendency when you ride these kinds of bikes to sort of hug yourself up to the tank, wrap yourself around the tank a little bit. And I found on this bike that you don't have to do that. I'm sat on the saddle and behind me in the rear saddle is probably about 2.5 inches, which means that the pillion's not going to be sat right on top of you. And it means you can move around on the saddle if you want. The saddle is a little bit narrow, and I wasn't sure how comfy it was going to be, but I would say that, and I know people have already said that they have checked these saddles out and they think they're very hard. I don't mind a hard saddle, to be honest. That sounds a bit weird, but I would say this is as comfy as the GS Adventure saddle. And if you're doing a long tour, you probably want to buy an Airhawk or I don't know, a sheepskin or something like that. People, you know, whatever you want, just to take the strain off. But there's plenty of space. I mean, you're not feeling like your thighs are gripping the saddle really hard. It's just, it feels like a spacious cockpit, if that makes sense to anybody. A little bit of an overrun on it when it's going down in gear. I am finding the... Ooh, let's take it off-road, look. We've got a tractor coming up. It is very high. I keep saying that, but it is. Do you know this road is horrible? But this has coped with this really well. You would expect it to anyway. I mean, it's an off-road bike, but I don't feel like I have to be particularly wary whilst I'm riding it, even though we're going over lots of stones and loose ground and mud and stuff like that. Okay, so I just dropped it down into 1st gear there, coming down this hill to see what the engine braking like, and it's quite good actually. It's very, very good, to be honest. Isn't this gorgeous? I really, really like it. And I've said already on my little introduction while I've been riding the bike that if I had to make a choice between certain other bikes, I could consider this bike. There's only one issue that is a major issue, and I think people are going to be really worried about it. Yeah. It's the height of the thing.
Was it really, really too high for you?
I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
I can get my both toes down on the balls of my feet.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not comfortable down, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was only putting 1 foot down, wouldn't be an issue. But it is very high. The seat height is 900 at the moment.
Yeah.
It's the lowest seat height.
Wow.
The highest is 920, so it only drops 20 mil. But that said, it's a comfy seat.
Yeah.
Nice. I think it'd be great for a pillion. You can obviously buy luggage for it. It's standard Honda luggage.
Yeah.
Really well made. Really well made.
Well, Honda are great, aren't they? Because even if you look in the back of the casings, they've really smoothed them out and made really good casings, haven't they?
Yep, yep. The engine, 1000cc engine, does about 61, I think, miles to the gallon. 24.2 litre tank.
Excellent.
That,
yeah.
I have my thing here. 24.2, I'm correct. So that's probably going to give you 280 Is that about right?
Yeah.
Might be guessing that.
Does
I
that
made that up, I apologise.
does that make the bike feel a lot wider than the other one?
It feels like, if you've ever ridden a GS Adventure, it
Yeah.
feels like a tank on a GS Adventure. And I think the weather protection you'll get from that is going to be the same.
Yeah.
The screen is good. You can't adjust it though,
Right, okay.
but I don't think you need to. You can see over the top of it because it's only going to be tall people who are riding this.
Yeah.
You don't get any buffeting from it. Bark busters, if this is designed as an off-road bike,
Yeah.
you would probably have to put better, proper bark busters.
Are they quite
on it. But
flimsy,
to be
are they?
honest, I mean, it's got road tyres on it. This isn't going off-road unless a serious off-road person's going to take it.
Yeah.
And I think they're about 12 grand to buy, but it comes with the crash bars fitted to it.
Yeah.
The wheels look so sexy.
They do, they do. And that's one of the things that Honda have always done, isn't it? Is come out with a colour scheme that's really attractive.
I think this is a head turner, it really is a
Yeah.
head turner. Twin headlights that are, I don't even know if they're LED or not, we'll try them. Should we try them?
Turn them on, Mr. Mark.
There you go, they're LED lights, look.
And almost like the angel eyes
Alright, okay,
from certain angles. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up, but
okay.
well, it might just there, yeah.
LED indicators,
Yeah.
so it's pretty swept up.
And it comes with all the belly pan and everything.
That is a massive belly pan, I mean look at that. That is a serious
That's solid,
aluminium
isn't
belly
it?
pan, yeah. And you'll notice that the mudguard comes down to protect the pipes,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Bugbear.
One of our little bugbears.
Yeah. What's the horn like?
The horn is absolutely pointless. And I've already said I don't understand why manufacturers put these garbage horns on. But
Yeah.
listen to this. You ready?
We're ready. It's not even a Renault 4 horn, is it?
No, not even that. It is very sad that they put such a poor horn on a motorbike.
Yeah.
You know, because how else are you going to tell people you're in the way?
Yeah.
Because people.
Hence the fact that we've put our horns.
There you go. So we've put
Yeah.
sound bombs on ours.
Yeah.
But so on the dashboard you got loads of information and there's different modes you can have. I've just found one that says gravel.
Wow.
How cool is that? Tour.
Is it easy to
Urban.
read?
It is easy to read, but you can't do it unless you're stationary.
Right.
So if I just put it down on Tour
Yeah.
or Urban, that should be okay. I don't know how you do that. All right. So the dashboard is the screen itself is easy to see. Although we've just found we tried to film it and there is a lot of reflection. I'm looking at a reflected image of myself in the screen now.
Yeah.
And the sun is shining at us, so that might be a bit of an issue as you're driving along. Don't know.
There's a lot of room in here, isn't there, that you can get into the lights to change the lights and do different things.
Well, they're LED lights, so hopefully you won't have to change them.
Well,
I know what you
hopefully
mean.
Yeah.
The HISS key, where you have to have the right key for the ignition that Honda like to use,
Yeah.
which is good. There's the bars are quite high, so you get
Yeah.
a nice riding position from it. Everything's tucked away as you would imagine it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. There's a bit of plastic to cover the front of the tank because obviously there's a lot of crud could come up through the gap there. Fuel tank. Seat, it's quite comfortable. There's a side stand and all the pegs. I noticed when I was riding there's no vibration comes through the engine at all.
Oh, that's good. Well, they've got the rubbers in there.
Yeah, I wish our GSAs would have that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good solid foot peg. And then we come back down to the chain. Chain is a heavy duty chain obviously.
Yeah.
Again, these are road tyres.
Bridgestones.
Bridgestone, isn't it? Battle axes or
Yeah.
something of some sort. But you know, the bike, although it's supposed to be an adventure bike, I don't think it's ever going to go off-road necessarily. Reasonable seat for the pillion. Good grips here, and I would imagine that a Honda box would fit easily on the back of this. And again, you could buy the proper Honda luggage, which is a bit rubbish in some respects because on one side you get this nice big pannier and on the other side you get it cut away next to nothing. You can probably put a laptop in it because it has to go over this big exhaust, which is a bit of a design fault really, but you know, it's the way it is.
What's all the switch gear like? Is that good?
Switchgear is Honda switchgear,
Yeah.
which is bomb-proof, isn't it? I did
Yeah.
think, and it might just me being a bit of a numpty, that the handlebars were a little bit thin.
Oh, okay.
But it might be because I've come off using grip buddies on my adventure but they have got heated grips. Why manufacturers are still making bikes without heated grips on, I have absolutely no idea. You can say you make bikes for hot countries, but if you're selling a bike in the UK, put heated grips on them!
And a decent horn.
Oh, and a decent horn. Brilliant mirrors.
Yeah.
Excellent mirrors. And everything is nice. I really like it, as you can tell. I'm very, very happy. Thank you for letting me ride it, Damerells.
So, would this be a contender for you? Because of all the miles that we do on our adventure and what we do with ours, would this be a contender for you to have this rather than an adventure, or would you not have it?
Yes.
Dun dun dun!
I hate chains. I hate all the things you have to do with chains, and you know, the mileage we're doing every year, you know, I'd have to really suck that up.
Yeah.
But I really do like the bike. If they put this tank on the smaller version, the one they call the just the Africa Twin, this is the Adventure Sports, if they put this size tank on the Africa Twin, they'd sell thousands, because height is going to be an issue for so many people.
And potentially make a model that you can have lowered specifically. Because, you know, these manufacturers, we get it all the time. You guys out there comment on our videos about why do they make such big bikes. I'm only 5'8". I can't even get one of those bikes if I want. They're missing a trick, aren't they, the manufacturers?
I think they are. And this would be, like I said, I've said on my little chat when I was riding it, this is going against a GS Adventure, which they do a load version of. So if you put this size tank on the Africa Twin version, ka-ching! Honda, think about it, you muppets. It would be worth
very capable muppets, but
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for me. So if you like this video, Toby will put some wizardry on about subscribing, but subscribe to us please, because it is important. And I really like this bike.